Everyone, today we hear what happened to John the Baptist. King Herod heard about these things because the name of Jesus had become well known. Some were saying John the Baptist has been raised from the dead, and this is why miraculous powers are at work through him. Others were saying, oh, he's Elijah. Still others were saying he's a prophet like one of the ancient prophets. But when Herod heard these rumors, he said, John, whom I beheaded, has been raised to life. He said this because Herod himself had arranged to have John arrested and put in prison because of Herodias, the wife of Herod's brother Philip. Herod had married her, but John had told Herod, it's against the law for you to marry your brother's wife. Now you can go and read the rest of the story in Mark about what happens from this. John loses his head. I have vivid memories of hearing this story in Bible class and, the head on the platter. But, we think about John the Baptist here. He's commonly identified as a prophet. If you remember a couple of days ago, we talked about how prophets aren't welcome or very well liked. And today we see that sometimes that even leads to them being killed for what they say. And this happens because true prophets very often will speak truth to power. The best example of this is Nathan when he calls out King David in the Old Testament after what he did to Bathsheba and her husband. Right, that goes well, but a lot of times it doesn't. Right here, John calls out Herod because of this incestuous marriage that he has. He marries his brother's ex-wife, who is also his half-sister. I think it's kind of gross. But what we see in this, the bigger picture, is that kings, don't really usually appreciate when prophets call them out like this. Right? Herod doesn't change, and his wife wants John dead, and she eventually gets what she wants. And so when we look at this, when we think about how we who are trying to speak for God should approach those in power, one Christian approach is, well, just leave it alone, right? Let leaders be, don't get involved in politics. And I think the important question there is, well, what do we mean by politics? Right? It shouldn't be getting into partisan debates, picking a party or a side. It shouldn't be preachers endorsing one candidate over another. But on the other hand, politics really is about how we treat our neighbor on a larger scale, right? And saying that issues of justice matter. That is a biblical concern. And loving our neighbor is kind of central. The gospel we believe in is inherently political because it's about a kingdom. It's about a Lord. So how do we engage in healthy, prophetic political discourse? We have to find some sort of middle road between ignoring abuse just because it doesn't affect me and then losing our heads over things that we can't actually change. Jesus is Lord. That's the confession that we would all make. And that's not an excuse to hide our heads in the sand until he shows up to fix everything for us. Instead, when we say Jesus is Lord, that is empowerment to build for his kingdom in his name and in his love.